Like stealing achievements from a 13-year-old playing an M-rated game online.
It's gonna be one of those days. DC Comics and video games have been a thing for several decades, housing some of the coolest and straight up worst games of all time. Just about every generation has its own 3 out of 10 Aquaman, Superman 64, or Batman Forever. The Marvel side of the spectrum has been far more generous with fun, well-made titles like MVC 1 and 2, X-Men Legends, Guardians of the Galaxy. It take the Dark Knight away, and DC games are kind of a grim situation where you'll end up playing Catwoman. And no one should do that. Which brings us to the Caped Crusader, Batman. His history is truly a mixed bag of game quality, and it wasn't until Rocksteady's Arkham franchise that things really took it to the next level. They created a trilogy plus one of licensed games, all of which I'd sit down and replay any day of the week. Especially Asylum, that one rules. No longer are we forced to play Batman and Robin for the PS1. We had 3 legit 9 out of 10s that raised the bar for licensed games everywhere. Asylum in 2009, City in 2011, Night in 2015, Arkham VR, I guess, and then nothing for 8 years. Enter Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's been a minute so I can say it now. The latest release from Rocksteady, a massive critical and commercial failure, and the latest entry in the beloved Arkhamverse. A game clearly split by 2 struggling ideas and overwrought with terrible Warner Brothers Discovery decisions. Something I was originally really excited for due to a love for the source material, but hey, here we are. Hearing some change later, and I've gone through and done everything. All the content, all the season story missions, every character's level maxed, 100% trophy, we've even read the prequel comic book. Yep, we got another one. We did it. Well, most of it anyway, because grinding each individual season for 50 hours to make number go up sounds like a good way to lose my sanity. We'll come close though.
I'm ready to jump off the roof now.
So yo, it's Austin, and finally, after an entire year, it's time to take a look at everything Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has to offer. But once I realized that things weren't looking great for the old Justice League, I decided to hold off on making this, and well, here's everything it has to offer. That's the full game, 4 seasons, 8 episodes of video game to play, a comic book, and a bunch of diving around on Wikipedias because exposition cutscenes do not exist. We've got a ton to talk about today, but before we get started, I've got a word from today's sponsor, VITURE. These here are the VITURE Pro XR glasses, and this is the brand new VITURE Pro headset. These are glasses that you can use for AR gaming anywhere, anytime. Living room in use? Got a flight to catch? Well, pop on these and you can connect to one of many different consoles to play your games anywhere. There's no blurry edges thanks to their UltraClarity tech, and the myopia adjustments will allow you to sharpen the image for your eyesight. VITURE sent me a pair of these to try out, and on my recent trip out of the country, I decided, sure, why not? Put them on, and all of a sudden I was playing UFO 50 for like 2 hours straight. These have electrochromic film on them. If you press a button, you can adjust it so the light gets blocked out from the side, so you'll only be seeing the image in front of you. Pair those up with the VITURE Neckband Pro, and you'll be able to turn it into a really powerful Android-based system. There's apps for watching movies and TV shows, as well as cloud gaming and remote play. This includes your consoles at home too. The Pro Neckband includes access to 2 premium apps for remote play, that's PS Play and XBX Play. The Pro Neckband really takes VITURE's Pro Glasses AR integration to the next level with power across the board, a longer battery life, and a bunch of smart enhancements. You can store tons of apps and movies on its internal storage, which is all easily navigatable with the buttons on the glasses. Talking to the AI companion Vizard, it's never been so easy to just sit back and relax. So VITURE's teaming up with us to make a deal specifically for y'all. If you click the link down in the description or go over to the website and use the code AUSTIN, you can save 10% off your entire order. It's a great way to take your gaming library on the go. Pick up the Pro Glasses and Pro Neckband and enhance your AR gaming today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the video games. Today we're talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, now that it is finished and in maintenance mode. So now we can get the full intended experience, and we might as well start at the beginning with the several delays. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League faced an uphill battle from day one. Not only was it following up a strong legacy of games with a completely different concept, but it shared a name with a franchise that by all means was seen in the mainstream as a joke.
Sorry. The voices.
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Seriously, the damage tattoo? 9 years later, and I still have no idea what they were doing with this film. But I'm sure some kind of Suicide Squad was the group chat name for at least 10 squads. Suicide Squad as a video game concept goes back as far as 2010, with DC Comics vaguely announcing its existence. This was not by Rocksteady, but instead Warner Brothers Montreal shortly after the release of Arkham Origins and Blackgate. Warner Brothers clearly wanted the Arkhamverse to be something that was being created with multiple developers, but this had the plug pulled and they'd go on to make Gotham Knights instead. Not Arkham, but a release that came with its own set of mixed reception. You can check out that video here later. Warner Brothers would instead push the Suicide Squad concept into Rocksteady Studios after the release of Arkham Knight, and then they'd eventually unveil it during the pandemic era 2020 DC Fandom, which has turned out to be a cursed event. Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam 2, Black Adam, The Flash, all massive successes. But what they showed of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League seemed alright actually. Video games haven't spent much time in Metropolis in comparison to Gotham, so it'd be interesting to see Rocksteady make a game in the daytime. We got Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark all zipping around using a variety of weapons and tools, smashing stuff with melee attacks. It's a pre-rendered cutscene, you know how it is. Brainiac's ship looks menacing, Superman comes up looking all evil, and anyone familiar with comics could tell you what's gonna be happening. This was actually met with optimism from fans. Shoot forward a year to Fandom 2021, you got more gameplay, more bits of the story, more things.
Well, definitely don't want to get on Amanda Waller's bad side.
A few people were questioning the tone due to the darker nature of the Batman titles, but you can only expect so much from a cast with these morons. However, what was shown was at least Vegeta smirk-worthy.
Really? Why don't you just mail me the bullet?
They were aiming to have it come out in 2022, but nothing was going right during COVID development, so Rocksteady put out a statement saying they're pushing it back to 2023. Move forward to the Game Awards Trailer Fest, you get another trailer, this time showing the Caped Crusader himself, the dude from the Arkham games, Batman. Also with a little announcement that the role was reprised posthumously by the great Kevin Conroy. Again, most reception, positive to neutral, and a whole bunch of kids yelling boring in the chat replay. Then came the big one. February 2023. During the PlayStation State of Play, we'd finally get a closer look at the gameplay. It was this look that led to one of the strongest hate trains I've seen in recent times, since like Gotham Knights. I hope you like numbers, because that's what we're looking at. Guns everywhere, including on Harley and King Shark. Yeah, the dude known for eating people's faces and being Ron Funches was gonna be another dude with a gun.
Okay, now here's your first problem.
An extended look at the gameplay revealed that yes, this was going to be yet another always online games as a service co-op looter shooter like your Destinies and Avengers, which was not what the people wanted from Rocksteady, especially with how well received Avengers was. The outrage was loud enough that Rocksteady and Warner Brothers announced in April that they were going to delay it again to February 2024 in order to, quote, get the game to be the best experience for players, which read like they were going to tone down the number RPG looter shooter aspect. Did they? We'll find out later. Finally, after 4 years of its original announcement, a closed beta I tried and kind of enjoyed, and even longer in the oven, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League hit store shelves and nothing changed. Sporting a mixed 60 on Metacritic, which means it was terrible, Kill the Justice League became the laughing stock of the month. And suddenly people were making memes with Thanos and Gotham Knights. Perhaps I judged you too harshly, if only they recognized that earlier. So without any further ado, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I didn't get it physical. Why? I played this game several times over 2024 and 2025, delayed the launch of this video twice just to mirror the game's launch, and dug through everything that I could feasibly do in order to get the fullest experience for y'all. So let's start with what is probably the most interesting part, the story. Also the fact that Samoa Joe is King Shark.
I would be happy to introduce myself.
They may walk in, but I guarantee they will both limp out.
Yeah, my boy. Taking place 5 years after Batman Arkham Knight, Kill the Justice League opens with what you would expect. The ever trustworthy, never did nothing wrong Amanda Waller grabbed a bunch of inmates out of Arkham Asylum to join her Task Force X. We've got Dr. Harleen Quinzel, the same one from the Arkham games, resident gymnast, psychologist, and psycho clown. There's Deadshot, unrelated to the Deadshot from the other Arkham titles. There's even a couple jokes about it.
Isn't Deadshot supposed to be white? Aren't you supposed to be shutting your damn mouth?
George Digger Harkness, aka Captain Boomerang, makes his franchise debut as a dude with a boomerang. He's one of the Flash's villains, and these days seen as a bit of a jobber, despite him originally looking like this. Don't worry, this costume's in the game too. And lastly, for now, King Shark, Prince Nanaue, son of Chandraka, and quite often the comic relief of the group, although to be honest, all four of them are kind of that.
He's so sweet. He's not gonna make it.
What are you doing, mate?
I'm smiling.
And these are our heroes. Villains, the people.
Fuck you!
Waller puts bombs in their necks and sends them off to save Metropolis from Brainiac and an evil version of the Justice League. You immediately bust into the Justice Museum, steal a couple gadgets for fun traversal options, and the hat that definitely makes you invisible. You have a run-in with John Stewart Green Lantern as he takes you on a tour across the city. It's a friendly trip. You get rescued by the Flash, you try to go into hiding, and then watch Flash get his finger cut off because Boomerang's a moron.
Ah, shit.
Then get absolutely rocked by Batman. How did we get here from the ending of Arkham Knight? Well, it's actually explained via an in-game museum. Literally, the Arkham City / Knight backstory room, or the Batman experience that explains everything via long audio logs and exactly what happened. Quick spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Arkham Knight, but this does technically follow the ending where Brucey gets unmasked and is assumed dead. Jack Ryder recounts the events, and it basically implies that after everything, Batman's chill and not dead, meets up with Superman and joins up with the Justice League. Logic leaps? A couple, yeah, but it's been like 5 years, so I guess a lot of that's off screen. Doesn't stop him from being a total badass though.
Go get him, Flash!
Batman has his own little segment here where he hunts down everyone playing individually, and it turns into this survival horror game for a moment. Maybe a bit heavily scripted, but having your friends get yoinked up and knocked out when you're just trying to run away is a solid moment.
I have the Flash. Your 4 escaped criminals. They led me right to him.
After Brainiac-influenced Batman captures the Flash, Task Force X invades the Hall of Justice, is approached and quickly beat down into the ground by normal Wonder Woman, and the power scaling of everything is immediately evident. Yeah, like Harley Quinn with a gun is probably not gonna do much against Brainiac. At least you'd think. Which brings us to all the side characters, and the reason you can do anything is because of people like Toyman. Unrelated to the original, this Toyman's a massive fanboy of the Justice League who just wants to impress them, I guess. He invents sketches to help you deal with the superpowered metahumans. Not necessarily a bad guy, but still, Boomerang tosses a nanobomb in his head.
Hey back, you little shit.
There's also Hack, the digital persona of a character named Zalika. Her power, according to Lexis files, are basically super coding and hacking. She manifests herself up a hologram projection and is mostly around to give missions and, I guess, various lines of dialogue in combat. The Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, makes an appearance as well. He's one of the first you find for your hub in the Hall of Justice. Yes, the same Penguin from the other games has holed himself up in Metropolis, and it's up to Task Force X to drag him out as their primary weapons dealer, aka your main method of loot acquisition. After every single mission, you'll have Ozzy yelling in your ear about doing good enough, I guess. Here's some loot before he jettisons it into your location, which can probably kill you too. By the way, just about every NPC's here against their will. Old Pengu's got a pretty funny cutscene about it too.
Fricasseed penguin. Oh my god, he's getting up.
Hitting him again. He's ran out the door. Somebody stop him.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Too bad it was also in all the pre-release trailers. This happens a lot with all the funny moments. There's also Ivy, the reincarnated version of Poison Ivy after the events of Arkham Knight, is a small child who's going around eating people with Frank, her giant plants, and spreading all sorts of environmental damage. What does she add to the party, besides an awkward conversation with Harley, is, you guessed it, environmental effects for your weapons. Rick Flag gives you a loot crate every few hours, and at this point you can kind of see where this whole thing's getting at. The first several hours of Suicide Squad has you running around doing errands with the occasional cutscene to add another feature to your gameplay loop. Different quest styles, new weapon types, numbers going up, and well, we might as well take a break from the narrative to get into the gameplay. Here is where Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League shines and also falls apart. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but take it like this. When I played through the campaign, it was with a group of 4 who were familiar with the Arkhamverse the entire way through. We each had our own dedicated characters. I was playing as Harley Quinn, and it was actually a pretty good time. Let me tell you why. Traversal. If there's one thing that Rocksteady and Suicide Squad really nailed, it was the whole movement and feel of all the characters. Just about every moment where you're navigating with whoever and blasting away at dudes, especially in the story, feels good. They're all very different. Harley Quinn steals a bat drone from the Hall of Justice Museum and uses it to do gymnastics, to do the Batman gliding and swinging with a little clown-esque flair, which also means you can swing from it as you blast people underneath you. It's definitely one of the more involved control schemes, but also one that feels the closest to your normal Arkham style of movement.
Especially because someone like Boomerang uses something totally different.
His boomerang with a little flash antimatter device to teleport around. You throw that thing into the distance, and zap to it, and throw it onto the ground rapidly to run real fast and do the thing. Of all the characters, he was probably my least favorite. Which makes sense when someone like Deadshot can literally fly. He uses a jetpack to boost around, and while it's not full flight, it's one of the more fun ways to zip around the map. I probably liked King Shark the most of the main 4 cast, considering his whole thing is charging up big jumps and slamming around. Definitely the most video game feeling character of the bunch, but also when you can air dash into a ground pound that deals an absurd amount of AoE damage and destruction, making the frame rate plummet, what's not to like? Each of the 4 characters has their own set of 3 cooldown attacks. You've got suicide strikes, which function as finishers and takedowns, traversal attacks where you can zip to a point and usually hit a large area, as well as the squad ultimate that provides everyone with a buff or enemies with a debuff. Take all 3 of these concepts together, throw 4 people into a massive arena of chaos and endless waves of enemies and various gamey ass objectives, and okay, this is kind of fun actually. In multiplayer, it also does a competitive cooperative thing where the best person in your squad will get the MVP screen, meaning someone will get to show off their grippers constantly. No. This loop is actually pretty alright. Metropolis isn't massive, but it is dense and there's lots of things hidden around the city. Point in case, Riddler trophies and AR challenges. I gotta bring that dude back obviously, but since this game focuses on having an absurd amount of momentum, rather than slow-paced puzzles, they make Superman 64-ass courses throughout the map. This will unlock costume pieces, codex entries, outfits, and little things to waste your time with. Most of the cutscenes had us laughing on the regular, like when you piss off Wonder Woman so she locks you in a steel shipping crate and there's 3 minutes of black screen and ridiculous dialogue.
Someone is touching me.
Not me. Actually, it might be me.
I don't mind.
Wait, what am I holding on to? I swear I am going to kill all of you.
Sweetie, cool those jets.
When it hits, it hits. And for most of the story campaign, it does hit. There's a mix of funny and genuine moments spread throughout the 13 to 14 hour-ish long campaign. And I think it's great when Lex Luthor comes out of nowhere because he's only been mentioned and a voice in the past. That he immediately makes everyone out to be a complete buffoon.
Harley, do not touch us.
But you saying I can't really makes me want to, you know?
Harley, no!
Worth it.
I was having fun, and knowing where this is going, that sucks. So where does it all fall apart? There's actually a very specific part in the story where that happens, and that's spoilers, so I guess we're getting into spoiler territory. So this section is gonna be called Spoilers and Intro to Games as a Service. Wait, what? We're getting gassy again, and this time it's built directly into the narrative, so let's pick up where we left off. As the name of the game implies, it's time to kill the brainiacified Justice League. The first to go, the Flash, who kills Lex Luthor in a pretty entertaining way.
Would you look at that? He did have a heart. Catch. Oh, yeah.
This boss fight has you using a decoupler toy man made in order to use the counter ability to shoot him in the middle of the Speed Force, essentially protecting you from that force. This dude definitely goes out like a joke considering Boomerang wants to pee on him.
Show a little class, man. Holy shit. Congratulations.
to my massive and disappointingly male fan base.
This leads us to the Green Lantern showing up, a fight breaking out and everyone getting an early screening of the main in-game mechanic, Incursion. That's right, we're going multiverse, or as they're calling it in DC, Elseworlds. Anyone who's ever read a comic book takes a note that says the stakes have all but disappeared. On this Earth, you run into another version of Lex Luthor nicknamed Lex 2 because he's from Earth 2 and we're funny. Enter the Lex retrieval arc. In this dimension, Amanda Waller doomed everyone. You can see where this is going. Lex transports himself and the squad back to Earth 1 and you do a heel turn on Waller, who was totally trustworthy in the first place. Now they gotta combine forces in order to defeat the Justice League and Brainiac, starting with Green Lantern. This fight was okay. It was cool to see all the green constructs floating around, but it was worth it because King Shark becomes a lantern briefly, and I mean, that's pretty cool.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight.
The ring barely fits and he looks kinda awesome, but he can't have that, so no. Shark gotta go back to using just guns. The problem here, we're just going from cool set pieces to generic escort missions, and when I'm done hopping dimensions and thrown into a grenade kills only specific side mission right after, it's kind of a buzzkill. Next up, Superman. Just kidding, Wonder Woman helps. Just kidding again. Yep, that's Diana, now dead.
It's just... Don't try to talk.
Earnestly, this run of the story hit a good spot. It was well directed, the dialogue was good, and the Jokers stopped joking for a few minutes. Basically, Lex 2 and Waller theorize that Brainiac is buffing the Justice League members, which explains why Kal-El could survive a kryptonite to the heart, and that they need to explore some of Batman's contingency plans. So it's off to the Metropolis Batcave variant.
Let loose.
Bruce is Brainiac, of course, so you get to watch an inspirational speech directed at Robin, whose mask was covered in blood on the ground, but was seen by the Idiot Brigade. Turns out there's a gold kryptonite that can be used to take down Supes, but more importantly, the Suicide Squad learns about family.
None of us can do this alone. The family you choose. Together, you'll be formidable. That's something you taught me, son.
Keep it together, Shark.
Are you crying?
I have a complicated relationship with my father.
What follows this is one of the most unique sequences in the entire game. As implied by the end of Arkham Knight, Brucey's got some of that scarecrow toxin ready to go, so you have to play through everyone's fears and traumas one at a time. As in, like, if you're playing co-op, you sit there and watch everyone go through their own stuff and history. And it's pretty cool. It's unique. That and, I mean, look at the screen. Like, yeah, this is a Rocksteady I know. This is good. Mission unfailed. Bats is captured. They get what they need out of him from Lex, where he's then killed by Harley, claiming, "Whenever you're evil, you're still too good." Kind of a somber sequence of events, but one that makes sense considering the nature of the situation.
This was controversial with fans due to it being a performance by Kevin Conroy posthumously.
But it wouldn't be his last performance as Brucey. That'd be Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, and that movie is trash. There's a dedication for him in the credits, but we'll get back to that and his true comic book ass fate later. Because for now, Superman's up. Earlier, he stopped a nuke launched by Waller from killing everyone.
Yeah, go Superman! Oh, fucking Superman!
The team wraps themselves up in gold kryptonite because that'll work, and this fight is, man, I can't really tell you anything interesting. He just flies around, it does a lot of bullshit, and you just gotta shoot at him until he falls down. In comparison to the Batman and even Green Lantern fights, this is really underwhelming. Yo, side note, because I totally forgot, there's like combat vehicles in this game. I only used it 5 times in the entire 100 hours I played this, but just remembered. Yeah, I don't know why they're here. Okay, sorry, back to Clark. Unfortunately, here's where everything falls off a cliff. Just like when Superman stopped the entire Earth's rotation, this whole experience breaks apart. Basically, what happens to Superman here is he gets shot enough with kryptonite bullets that he just stops working. Cool.
We killed Superman! Hell! We murdered the whole Justice League!
All the members of the Justice League are dead. It's time to face Brainiac. Head on up to his hideaway, meet the veiny brainy dude himself, and I've never seen this. Let's go, high five everyone, and Brainiac appears, freezes everyone in time and space, and explains how cool he is. Brainers wants to kidnap Task Force X in order to replace the League they just killed. The scene is really intense, and it's impressive watching the facial capture micro expressions the cast make while frozen, which is funny because King Shark makes a joke about it 5 minutes prior.
I do not think it can show micro-expressions. like me.
Lex saves the players at the last minute and then literally explains the games as a service aspect to the player. Thou must face me, my Brainiac 3, plus 10, 13.
13 Brainiacs.
So let's make it happen by grinding through arbitrary missions with various objectives in order to get enough points to unlock it. Transport the payload, arm the bomb. Now I can pay that currency in order to fight the final boss of the game. Wait, sorry, we get teleported into another dimension in order to do a few more various objectives to then summon Brainiac to the surface. Story-wise, it's just something about shields, but really it's just a way to waste some time. Then we finally make our way towards the big dude, get plagued by a bunch of networking issues because I guess the servers were screwed that day. Like, what's going on here? Brainiac is essentially the Flash fight with a few extra things happening, and that's it. You capture him in a small ball. You figure out how to exterminate him.
We cannot. I will devour him, remember? And then the pooping.
Amanda Waller stabs him in the head with a cool Lex Luthor key. Everyone's like, what just happened? The final boss has been defeated, and that's the ending. Like, actually, there's no proper epilogue out of the gate. We get a nice Batman obituary read by Lois Lane, a nice thank you Kevin message after the credits, a mission accomplished, some loot with even bigger numbers because, you guessed it, it's time to do it forever. Season 1 with the Joker, Finite Crisis to prove your mastery, combat battle passes, costume and cosmetic battle passes, new weapons with so many status effects and no auto-equip, so you'll be going cross-eyed trying to figure it all out. Legendaries, villain synergies, skill trees that do nothing mechanical and are all proc and chance based. You know, we're in the end game of a games as a service.
I would like one.
So I shut it off after like gaining 60 levels or so, because I realized that the full story needed for a video wasn't quite there. Kill the Justice League ends really anticlimactically, and having done these full deep dives before, I realized that we needed the full thing in order to really experience whatever they were trying to do. Unfortunately, less than a year later, we'd have it all, but in the meantime, there was a comic book. So let's break away from having a moan and see if this adds any context or anything. Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum.
The word kill is certainly accurate in both the game and comic. The first issue of the prequel comic went on sale the same week as the video game, and it's actually not terrible. Usually tie-in comics or novels for games are a bit of nothing, but this one bridges the gap between Arkham Knight and now. After the events of Knight, Amanda Waller's Argus decided to take control of Arkham Asylum and turn it into a way more secure facility, which of course means by torturing everyone inside with a cast of guards that should be in jail. The first issue shows the setup. Batman is like, this is pretty sus, and just about every frame of Waller has her drawn looking like an actual demon. If you had any pity for her in the game, you sure won't anymore. The main gist is that after Metropolis is getting overrun by Brainiac and the Justice League's nowhere to be seen, Amanda Waller decides to turn Arkham into a free-for-all battle royale. Yeah, torturing prisoners for years and then setting them all free at the same time. Smart idea. Every issue then ends up being that character's story, how they got into jail and how they'll get out. A lot of surface level stuff here, but with a few fun interactions. Deathstroke makes an appearance here with the world's best assassin off with Deadshot before turning on him with a literal nothing personnel kid, and we'll see him in a bit. Captain Boomerang is drawn like this super cool dude because the majority of his story takes place in a skirmish with hypnotists, and Harley Quinn should definitely not stand a chance in here, but I guess her hammer was big enough.
It's me, dickhead.
Each of the 5 issues has pretty solid art and the dialogue is good enough. I actually think this story should have been included in the main game as the tutorial instead of the weird traversal thing they had, but I guess their systems relied on a lot of vertical movement and guns, so it wouldn't have worked. Still, if they had proper melee systems, they could have had a cool moment with King Shark brawling against Clayface and Solomon Grundy, who still wants pants.
Solomon Grundy want pants too!
Unfortunately, a lot of fans are not going to be a fan of the fact that a ridiculous amount of Arkham characters die in this short story. Victor Zsasz gets his head eaten, same as Clayface. The Mad Hatter gets a boomerang to the skull, and the Condiment King, no more. Overall, it's alright. Kill Arkham Asylum gets an official should have been in the main game review score, just like Balan Wonderworld.
Alright, back to the mess. After a year, and I'm not gonna cut this because this is gonna be real emotions. After a year of waiting for this full game to be released, I decided to finally embark on the games as a service aspect. And I think it made me hate this game. I think I need to give Suicide Squad 2 or maybe even 3 different review scores, because the memories I have of playing this cooperatively versus the memories I now have of playing the in-game content by myself is just so different. And yeah, this grindy mission-based content just simply isn't worth anyone's time.
It worked out like this. Near launch, Rocksteady showed off an image hinting at the new releases of seasonal content, each coming with multiple Brainiacs, new worlds to explore, a new character to unlock with their own playstyle, and additional story. That also includes more codexes and Riddler trophies per episodes. Seasons would be based around the new character and would be split into 2 episodes. The first one being the unlock process for the character and a Brainiac, the second with some tougher challenges and an additional brain to slay. Also, each episode has its own 200 level long battle pass to level up. In order to do certain missions, you'll need to level up that pass. To level up that pass, you have to run around the city and do random objectives or hop into one of the incursions. This is usually one of the side mission style objectives they'll have you do from the main game. Defeat X amount of enemies, clear the base points, protect Ivy's plant, the latter of which basically disappears after the first season because it was the worst. Each mission will usually get you about a level and a half on your season pass. In order to unlock new characters or the Brainiac fight, you need to get to level 10 or 30 depending on the season. You can also do killing time to level up faster, which is a never-ending barrage of enemies that go up in a mastery level the more you kill, meaning you need better and better equipment to stand a chance. The higher the mastery level of the episode, the better the loot that drops. The higher the difficulty, the more things drop. That's numbers difficulty, by the way. You can also get villain-themed gear sets if you want the bonus, although I would avoid Catwoman's because one of her bonuses has you drop 99% of all HP and shields if you can't kill anything fast enough. Now, I just described the entire end game. Like, yeah, that's it. You pop into portals spending currency. You learn from doing missions in Metropolis. Hop into whatever season's world it is. Kill the same 10 enemies with different variations of shields, Justice League powers, and weaknesses. Watch your damage numbers creep into the, and I'm not kidding, several hundreds of thousands. Leveling up after level cap is so boring. So was the skill tree. Each skill on that tree was like, changes this ability to this. And if you watch the preview video, it's just someone shooting someone and a visual effect happening. Once you're at the character's level cap, you have a squad level, which you spend on points for micro upgrades, like increases XP gained by 0.5%. Frankly, who is this for? Once upon a time, I thought Gotham Knights was egregious, but this is absurd. At launch, this game didn't even let you dismantle gear drops when you picked them up. You had to go into the menus and do that. They patched that in, which saves some time, but I find myself just throwing everything away like 99% of the time. I think the combat is fun in this game, but truly, this gameplay loop is awful, especially the higher and higher you get, as you'll be sitting there just trying to figure out how exactly you need to break shields on bigger brute enemies, as you're like, man, I could be playing altered TCG at locals right now. Surely the story content has to be worth it. Like, the whole point is hunting down those Brainiacs and getting new characters. First up, Season of the Joker, coming out after a slight delay on March 28th, 2024. I can't even imagine how the teams at Rocksteady were feeling about all this, considering all the internet backlash and the fact that they clearly weren't interested in doing this style of content, but still, who better to open the first round of DLC other than the Joker, which might have come off as bizarre to anyone who wasn't aware of the Elseworlds aspect of this title, considering he was dead in Arkham. At least it wasn't Roy D. Magoo.
So this is what, a third Joker? It's like looking in the mirror at the gym. In hell.
The story here goes, the main Brainiac is opening up portals to send troops from other worlds into Earth 1 to kill them as promised. So Waller's like, we gotta find more people to help us beat the baddie. They go to the, and I'm not kidding, Joker Earth, which is a planet terraformed using that dude's DNA. You grind up your levels to 30, doing quests with story beats I really couldn't parse, kill a brand new Brainiac now powered up by the Green Lantern, and pop out a Jonkler. This Joker's more of a Bishonen looking dude, a bit more Suicide Squad isekai than Arkhamverse, and he sure never shuts up. He's also my favorite character to play, hands down. Like, actually, it's Tony Joke's Pro Metropolis. His main method of traversal is using the umbrella and sticks of dynamite to fly up super high and float around. He can grind on the ground, and you can also slowly float down while shooting at things from above. He felt like a menace, especially with the sniper I found using a shot speed of an assault rifle. Leave it to me to find the most annoying character of the bunch the most entertaining.
Like stealing achievements from a 13-year-old playing an M-rated game online.
It doesn't even work, Joker. Where's the joke? You can't steal achievements. Episode 2 of The Joker has you get to a svelte mission past 10 and then fight the third Brainiac who goes Superman style, and that's it. There's not even really any exposition here, huh? Season of Freeze. Also delayed and coming out late July, half a year after launch. And no, not Mr. Freeze, Mrs. Freeze. Her world, Frozen Earth, was invaded by the Brain Team, and she drags Nora out of the Hall of Justice to ensure her safety at the cost of a neck bomb. By the way, if you're joining now at the total end game and haven't caught up with the seasons, Kill the Justice League does not care. It'll automatically toss you into the latest season and have that all over the map. Older cutscenes be damned. You have to manually select which episode you want to play and then that episode's intro, and then you can only gain mission pass levels on whatever you have selected. It's very obfuscated. So, Mrs. Freeze. Her character is a slightly more ornery version of Mr. Freeze, so she's always getting mad at the rest of Task Force X, which is pretty easy. Traversal-wise, she's got her free suit, which allows her to do even more skating. Cool. She's got a lot of sustain and hovering abilities, but it's kind of bizarre to see this giant axe on her back at all times. You know, when you think of Mr. Freeze's weapon, you probably think of like the freeze ray gun, right? Nah, that. We got normal guns. Melee's only really a thing for juggling enemies or spreading afflictions too, so she ends up feeling similar to everyone else. Probably my second least played next to Boomers. Rinse, repeat, kill a Brainiac, but then you find out in true comic book fashion, these superheroes you killed weren't the real ones. Well, at least the Flash anyways. You retrieve him without any Brainiac influence and put him in the Namek Saga healing pods for content that I'm sure will come later.
That's right, boys. Mondo cool.
Brainiac's dead, you're getting this, but also each season is taking 6 to 9 hours for the bare minimum based off how much grinding you need to do to unlock stuff. It's very tiring, and I wanted to stop playing, and I did for like a whole week, but at least we got a cool Flash photo shoot.
Get the Flash into stasis and get back to work.
Season of Lawless. Now, here's an interesting one. Finally, 3 seasons in, we're getting more personal with it. Lawless is an alternate universe version of Deadshot's daughter, Zoe Lawton, a streamer vigilante. Now, I gotta say, that's probably my least favorite archetype in any form of media, mostly because it's always done the same way, like a room of investors trying to figure out how the youth speak. Now, Lawless was originally a member of Suicide Squad dating back to the late 80s. Dude is clearly important. He's got a wiki page with practically nothing on it, so I guess they reused the name for this character, and what we got is the season with the most effort put into it, at least I think. The season of Lawless features mission cutscenes, unique set pieces, and the Fear World, which is essentially Gotham Land, and it looks great in the engine, especially in comparison to Joker World, which has a purple haze the entire time. This looks cool. There's multiple missions gated by story progress as you're chasing Lawless down, there's personal stakes with Deadshot, and when you finally unlock her, there's a cutscene where they're interacting. Also, any characters you have in excess of the 4 squad are now stored in a prison cell. Some of the dialogue's pretty good too.
Comparing me to a dead guy, I should at least get to inherit his stuff.
Lawless the character is a surprise, because if you asked me how she played, I would have never guessed Kat from Gravity Rush. Like, actually. She uses her anti-gravity tech to throw herself around and can remain floating for a really long period of time. I found myself having a blast using her, although I think the Joker edges it out a bit. Still, Gravity Rush and Suicide Squad.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Oh yeah, more Brainiacs die, and you save Green Lantern this time. Cool. No cutscenes after, by the way. It was very clear what fate was coming their way. And so the final season, Season of Deathstroke. Prior to its release, it became news that Warner Brothers and Rocksteady were going to be putting an end to any further updates for Kill the Justice League. This was gonna be it. The game had notoriously failed to hit, was a laughingstock, hit PlayStation Plus pretty quickly, and was on sale on Steam for $3.99 during one of the sales. That's just crazy. So Deathstroke was gonna be the finale and hopefully an ending to what had started a year prior. And if you'd read the comic, you knew he was coming. Task Force X moves into the medieval Earth, an Earth that is hopefully not the one from Dark Knights of Steel, specifically with the goal of extracting Deathstroke. Everyone's favorite problematic actual villain without a heart of gold, the one from the Arkham verse, aka probably the character they should have let off with the seasonal content. You can immediately tell there were some budget cuts with its release, and rightfully so. The world is nice and detailed, fun to zip around in, but it's lacking some of the moving pieces. Specifically when you get up to Brainiac's palace or whatever. It doesn't have a cutscene where it rises out of the ground or ocean like every other fight. It's just there. You show up and he's not there. You just fight a bunch of dudes. There's no grand cutscene like you had before. Then when you're about to start the fight, he's just murdered by Deathstroke in an instant. And it just hard cuts back to Argus headquarters. There's a little motion comic at the beginning of episode 7 that implies Deathstroke killed 2 other Brainiacs. Like, oh yeah, this dude can handle it all on his own, I guess. But when he kills Brainiac, it's zipped back to the Hall of Justice. No cutscenes or interaction, no bombs and necks, just, okay, you did it, good job, keep grinding. I can't hate on any of this due to the fact that it was probably rushed out the door with no budget. But unfortunately, some of that applies to Deathstroke as well. His animations are a bit wonky in comparison to the other characters. His whole shtick is the superhuman Gray Fox cyber ninja type, and he can use that to zip and float around all over the place. Earnestly, it's a lot of fun to play. He's fast. It's like a mix of Boomerang and Deadshot with how fast you can zip around. Although holding the dash button on the ground looks a bit funny.
This is my cruising speed.
I'm not sure this wall climbing animation was meant to go at normal speed. Of all of the characters, he's definitely the most meleeable when you got your effects stacked up. But you're still just best off shooting things from a distance by floating? I didn't know he could float. That's fine. Also, how am I supposed to believe that Deathstroke can kill Brainiac like it's an everyday chore, but the entire Justice League has issues? I'm not really sure the entire Kill the Justice League gameplay hook works, guys. So, we're in the home stretch. Episode 8, you kill the final primary Brainiac, which consists of 3 different iterations. You've also got support from Flash and Green Lantern. It's a all the warriors moment with the same mechanics and boss arena. You've done it in 8 times already. Well, unless you've been grinding mastery mode. You're walking up towards him to get the final blow, to get your redemption, and then it immediately cuts to a slideshow animation of Harley Quinn narrating the ending. Superman and Batman just show up to save the day with a kapow. Trustworthy Amanda Waller tries to get rid of the squad, but the others save them. Superman is like, none of us were really killed. They were all clones. Please join me in getting rid of all the Brainiacs across the multiverse. Bam, zap, boom. Captain Boomerang joins the frickin' Justice League. Lois Lane gets the scoop on Amanda Waller, and Wonder Woman is the only character who actually died. So, you know, just a wee little retcon of the events of the title of the video game, and that's it. I feel bad, I really do. The fact that the big ending of this game that was normally done with super high quality cutscenes had to be transformed down to a slideshow of art, no matter its quality, is just sad. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League makes me sad, and there's absolutely no way I was grinding out those mission passes for y'all, so that's all she wrote. A cool group photo where Slade was put in his default stance next to everyone else.
That was a lot, and yet nothing at the same time. There's a whole lot to love about Suicide Squad on a technical level. The gameplay is fun when you're in the honeymoon stage, but by the time you're deep into the end game, it's nothing. I think a real Suicide Squad score from me would have to consist of 3 individual numbers: the co-op, the single player, and the end game. From a co-op perspective, it was a lot of fun the entire way through. I would give it like a 7.5 or an 8, but you know, with the right people. I don't think that single player would be anywhere near as fun because you only get to control one character at a time for most of it, so like a 6. And the end game, the season pass content, 2. And that's a 2 because it functions, missing 8 whole points because it is not the type of game that Rocksteady Studios should be making.
There were a decent amount of glitches around launch. Some of the map missions have enemies glitch into the terrain where you can't defeat them. I had to run around for like 10 minutes trying to find an invisible helicopter, all while Deadshot was like,
I've never lost a target, and I'm not gonna start now.
The leveling systems are pointless. The skill trees are a bunch of prockables that do nothing meaningful to how you play. The weapons are all slight variations of each other. There's so many currencies that I never ended up using because crafting weapons from the Penguin, in my experience, seemed like a huge waste of time. The monetization on top of being a $70 game was egregious, with countless things added for Lex coins that sure didn't need to exist. I wish there wasn't such a bait and switch with the melee from those initial trailers, because I would have loved a melee focused version of this for certain characters, especially with, like, you know, a giant shark or cyber ninja. I didn't mention it earlier, but the screen is filled filled with stuff, especially at endgame. Damage numbers, radar positions, your party members, people talking, and lots of enemies and effects. The tippy top of this experience is a visual mess, and it's hard to look at for a while without droning out. But when you peel back a lot of that, maybe turn off a bunch of the HUD elements, I think there's a decent game tucked inside. For the right price, it has little pieces of Rocksteady brilliance, like with the Batman sections, and I think a lot of the outcry for that was overblown. They had a story they could have made work into a single game without seasonal content, but it's clear publisher interference made them shape things into something that just wasn't it. In recent years, games as a service models have really started to go the way of the dodo, and I think Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is gonna be the model as to why a lot of people backed out of it. Looter shooters aren't meant for everything. It barely works for some titles, so the second that model kicks in, the quality of this game suffers tenfold. In conclusion, once again, I'm just sad. I almost canceled this video because it was just bumming me out. I think Kill the Justice League could have been a solid 4-player co-op romp without all the RPG light numbers nonsense, and I think if you play it with a group of friends, it can still be that. For the right price and right group of people, I actually would recommend trying this, but with the largest asterisk possible. If anything, it's worth it for the King Shark and Captain Boomerang banter. Those two are idiots.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that, Shark. That's Superman. He'll kick your ass.
So there you have it. That's what it's like to beat Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and most of the DLC content. Yeah. The Platinum Trophy was mostly a checklist of things to do and not 90% of the playtime like my time with Avengers. The Mission Pass content was mostly grinding the same 4 or 5 missions over and over, watching a number go up slowly over time, and I just can't recommend that. Avoid the seasonal content. What should we deep dive into next? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, check out today's video sponsor, VITURE, and if you want to support the channel directly, you can head on over to the Patreon. Y'all's funding goes a long way, and you can also buy a t-shirt over at the Pixel Empire. For now, I'm gonna hit the sack because this one took a lot out of me, so I've been Austin, and I'll catch you guys next time when we look at a bunch of forgotten games by a company not currently known for publishing things. Thank you all so much for watching. Special Patreon shout out to Alfred Correa, Benna Oswald, Blackfoot Ferret, Blake Thomas, Charles Rosner, Cheeks, Clerk Fox, Chris Shelton, DX Buster, Dylan Snyder, Fragile Traveler, Hey Quiggles, Idlevice, Jay Roos, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Kevin Zanowski, Pierre, Platinum Rose, Pacha Bear, Rare Find It, Ryan Talbert, and Vox. Thank you all so much for your generous support. It's finally over. Over a year in the making, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in the bag. But we got a whole bunch more stuff coming out soon. Unrelated, I just beat Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Still fantastic game. Also, hey, to anyone who's listened to my band before, Great Hag, we're releasing a new EP on April 4th. You can scan the QR code on the screen to check it out when it comes out. Bye-bye.